I didn't feel that there was a choice. I didn't want there to be a choice. I knew that if we were going to really make a change in the world, then, like everyone else, we had to stand up and be counted. Hi, I'm Janett Walker, and I'm the chair of Anti Racist Cumbria. My parents are Jamaican. They came here after the war, like lots of Jamaicans did. So I'm a first descendant of a Windrush generation. And my mum was a really feisty, strong woman, tiny, tiny little figure. Lots of people say I'm very like her. And she taught us really good lessons in life. She taught us to be positive, always find the good in people, laughter, love, and always to count our blessings. It's really important to have strong women in your lives. It's one thing that I've learned in life, that it is important to have strong women around you. I used to be a lawyer for a very long time, 18 years in fact. The reason really that I left the law was because I found that as a woman and as a black woman, I was constantly subjected to discrimination. I remember when I was a very young lawyer and one of my very first appearances in court, I have very long hair, it's locks, and it was tied back neatly. And I walked into court terrified, wanting to do the best for my client, and the judge, who was a white male, said to me, "You can't come into my courtroom with your hair like that." Needless to say, I lost the case, and the aggression that I was met with for no other reason than the fact that I happened to be a black woman really hit home, and I knew that I was always going to have to fight. And I think when we saw what was going on around the world, it kind of really opened up all of those emotions. What you tend to do is you put all your emotions in a box and you put the lid on it, and you keep it shut and you leave them there. And the lid was forced open, it was burst open, and I felt all these emotions of anger. I was frustrated, I was extremely sad to see that so many things were still going on in the world that really hadn't changed, and what I'd done was closed my eyes to it so that I didn't have to deal with it. And when those protests started, it meant that I had to start looking at it again, and I had to start dealing with it. People often ask me why I set Anti-Racist Cumbria up. For me, I know Cumbria is a brilliant place. I have lived here for 13 years and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And I've often said, if you're going to have to be locked down in a pandemic, then right here is the best place to be locked down. There are some wonderful people. We have got a beautiful, beautiful county. But saying all of that, there is still racism here. I have experienced it. I know other people have experienced it. It's not about those extreme acts of racism that people tend to recognise as racism. It's the everyday racism that are in the structures and the systems and the sectors that are here. And for me, I could really see the potential. Wouldn't it be a great thing if a county like ours, one of the whitest counties in the UK, became anti-racist and even became the first county to become anti-racist? I think people often forget that when you work in an area like anti-racism, there is huge amounts of negativity. You receive lots of abuse, usually written on social media. What it has brought out is that there are still really strong pockets of quite deep-rooted racism. And that's really hard when your face is on the front line and you're the face of an organisation, and a lot of that abuse is directed at you. So for me, it's really important to have that network where people really have been supportive, and even people I don't know. You know, I've been stopped in the street by people who have said, "Oh, you're the woman who is doing Anti-Racist Cumbria. Great work, you know, I think you're doing a really great thing and it's going to be great for our county." And just that makes a huge difference to how you feel and how you sleep at night, because it can be quite frightening being out there on your own. When I was growing up as a young person, I didn't see people like me on the television, in movies, in books, in magazines, the whole gambit. You know, people like me were just the invisible so-called minority. So it's really important to be able to see people like yourself so that you can know yourself. I have 2 little girls, and for me, I want them to be able to go out into the world and not feel that otherness, or if that otherness is there, to be confident. I don't want my daughters to be silenced like I was for many, many years. I want them to be able to feel that they can say the things that are bothering them, and if they can challenge issues as they arise, and they don't feel that as black women that they should be treated any differently from anybody else who they see or are working with. Oh, personal inspirations. Gosh, I have so many. Of course, I'm going to mention Rosa Parks. She was amazingly important, but a lot of people don't know about the young woman who was on the bus a year before Rosa Parks, who actually also said that she wasn't going to get off the bus, she wasn't going to actually give up her seat on the bus for a white person, or for anybody else for that matter. And that kind of bravery really inspires me. I think it is actually really hard to put yourself out there and be that voice and be that face. What would I say to someone who looks up to me? Oh my God. Oh, that's a tough question, isn't it? My advice to those young women, or to all women, is don't be scared. Don't close off your emotions and shut them into a box. Don't put them away. Stand up, shine, be bright, be proud, be strong, and never feel that you've done something, that you're wrong just because of the colour of your skin.